Why aren't I getting better? Why am I still sick? I want to work again. I want to play again. We will be discussing post-COVID recovery program, also known as long haul syndrome, post-COVID-19 syndrome, or long COVID-19. My name is Dr. Marty Furlong. I'm a holistic practitioner and also have a doctorate in natural health care, specifically a doctorate in chiropractic. My clinic has helped thousands of individuals restore their lives as mothers, fathers, spouses, caregivers, employers, and employees. Over the past 35 years, the care we deliver is specifically directed to restore bodies to high levels of health, not symptom suppression. This health restoration is through natural healthcare means. We offer specific care plans for each individual's needs and circumstances. Let's get started. This is the post-COVID recovery program. Next slide. Let's look at the typical COVID-19 recovery expectations at this time. 97 to 99.75% of all people that get COVID are expecting a full recovery. Harvard Health had stated that a typical COVID sickness period is 1 to 2 weeks recovery time. The CDC in April of 2021 showed statistics that 99.98% of people with COVID had a non-death recovery rate. Next slide. What defines long hauler syndrome? Okay, long hauler syndrome is a group of symptoms that typically last 2 weeks or even months. Now, National Institute of Health stated a collection of COVID-19 symptoms lasting longer than 28 days is described as long hauler syndrome. I assume you or someone you know has ongoing symptoms and are now falling into this category of long haul syndrome. Next slide. 1/3 of COVID patients are expected to start developing long haul syndrome. According to the University of Washington, these patients were not sick enough to need hospitalization, that they did develop long haul even though they weren't hospitalized. So even mild cases can develop long haul syndrome. Next slide. Now, long haul syndrome, the most common symptoms reported include fatigue, shortness of breath, cough, joint pain, and chest pain. This is per the CDC in November of 2020. Next slide. Other long haul symptoms include brain fog, depression, muscle pain, headaches, intermittent fever, and heart palpitations. Now, Medscape is a group of 12,000 doctors. They stated on this Medscape site that 78% of long haul patients complained of fatigue. 72% patients complained of exertional malaise. Basically, when they exercise, it might take days or days to recover from any form of exercise. And 55% of post-COVID patients complained of cognitive dysfunction, or basically brain fog. All these findings were noted with patients, and they still demonstrated with normal blood tests. New slide. Less common long-term complications included multi-system dysregulation. That's fancy words for many organ systems not working properly. But these systems did include cardiovascular, which would be inflamed heart muscle, respiratory, decreased lung function, renal, in some cases acute kidney injury, dermatologic, meaning rashes and hair loss, neurological, meaning altered smell and taste, sleep issues, and memory issues, and psychiatric, including depression and anxiety. New slide. What causes long hauler COVID or long hauler syndrome? The University of California, Davis came out with a statement and said, seems to be no consistent reason for this to happen. Healthline, another site, said symptoms are a mystery. In other words, there's no real known cause for COVID long hauler syndrome. New slide. So current treatment models for the CDC is don't get COVID. That's a treatment model. But also wear a mask, wash hands, and social distance. In other words, there's no known treatment per covid.us.org. New line, new file. Okay. Why do some people become long haulers and others don't? Now, the CDC projected 4 reasons why people may develop long haul COVID. One reason is viral persistence. And basically, despite the body testing that it had antibodies against this virus, the virus still stayed in place. Okay, that's one thing they projected maybe why they still have it. There's also another thought that says deconditioning of the body and the systems from sickness or pre-sickness deconditioning was maybe why some people develop long hauler. These pre-sickness deconditioning is frequently known as comorbidities. We'll talk about that more. Now, another reason they gave, a third reason, was that a patient might have a dysregulation of their immune system. These are fancy words for saying the immune system never started working and they were left in a sick state because their body didn't know how to fight back. Or there's a other end of it where there was a chronic hyper response resulting in an inflamed body state. Basically, when your body's left in this high inflamed state over a long period of time, your immune system really becomes ineffective. Now, the fourth reason, which was really interesting, they said this could be a combination of any of the above. And what we just talked about was all these systems and the body not working right. New line. Now, we're going to give you a different concept of how to think about your body and why it would get sick and stay sick. There's a thing called terrain, or basically the state of the body. So should we worry about the bug or the diminished state of the body's health? Let's call this terrain or the body's environment. What happens with the body to allow a bad bug to move in and not leave? Why do some people get sick and some people get better? Why do some people get sick and stay sick? Some people never get sick. When the terrain or the state of the body is broken down, any bug can move in and stay. So think about colds or flus or Lyme disease. This healing concept of bad terrain answers all the questions that we just asked. Why do I get sick? Because there's a bad state of the body or bad terrain. Why don't I get better? There's a bad state of the body or bad terrain. Why some bodies don't ever get sick? They have a great state of the body or a great terrain. The body works as one big healing unit. Each organ is dependent on other organs to increase its health. One organ cannot reach optimal function if the other organs or systems are underperforming. Some drugs are designed to suppress the symptoms of one system with a possible unintended consequence of poisoning another system. So it's common to see someone taking medication to try to help their constipation, but it poisons their liver, which is actually the cause of the constipation in the first place. So you see one drug starts affecting a different system. It would be very difficult to balance the side effects of multiple drugs, a drug treatment program in each unique body. So there's a new treatment paradigm. Basically, paradigm means a whole new way to think about treating a body. And that is, let's raise the viability, or basically let's raise the health of all the organs by treating the body as one unit. That's the terrain we're talking about. Letting the body direct the natural progression of healing. So the body's so smart, it'll tell us exactly what it needs. The body's own innate intelligence will prioritize where to start healing and what is the next step in the healing process. A classic situation we'll see in our clinic is someone comes in with terrible sinus problems, but their sinuses won't drain as long as the number one filter in the body is not draining. Basically, their liver is all congested and it backs everything up and they get to experience sinus congestion. So to keep treating the sinuses is ignoring the body as a unit. The body, when we test, will say, hey, decongest the liver, and their head will drain incredibly. New slide. Now, anytime that you have bad terrain, This is another term they use is called comorbidities. The most common comorbidities we see include obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and cancer. Heart disease would be another comorbidity. That's number one killer of men and women in the United States by far. Now, these comorbidities are a sign that the body is under stress. This constant state of stress leaves the body with little or no reserves to reestablish health. New slide. The question is, how did this happen to you? How did this happen to society? New slide. I'd like to read just a quote from Dr. Royal Lee. He states, "We have drifted into this deplorable position of national malnutrition quite inadvertently. It is a result of scientific research with the objective of finding the best ways to create food, think of the Impossible Burger, that are non-perishable, that can be made by mass production methods in central factories and distributed so cheaply they can sweep all local competition from the market." So think the local farmers being swept out. Then, after they're developed suspicion that these foods are inadequate to support life, modern advertising steps in to propagandize the people into believing that there is nothing wrong with them, that they are the products of scientific research intended to afford a food that is the last word in nutrient value. And the confused public is totally unable to arrive at any conclusion of fact and continues to blindly buy the rubbish that's killing them off years ahead of their time. The American public have been humbugged into digging the graves with their own teeth. Dr. Royal Lee made this statement back in 1943, almost 80 years ago. He saw this happening. It has been accelerated and is a large part of why people get post-COVID syndrome. New slide. How is your terrain? Do you have comorbidities? Steps to take for prevention and healing of post-COVID syndrome. New slide. These important steps that you should address include sleep, stress, sugar, toxicity, and missing nutrients. New slide, please. Okay, let's talk about sleep. Sleep is your time to heal. The typical body needs 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Now, sleep deprivation is cumulative. So just for example, if you lost 4 hours of sleep last night, you need 6 to 8 hours tonight, plus the 4 you lost last night. You just don't get caught up right away. You have to actually make it up. The hours of sleep before midnight count for 2 hours of sleep compared to the hours after midnight. Now, I'm not sure that this is totally true, that statement, but I do feel there's value in these early hours of sleep. The biggest reason is a person's natural circadian rhythm. What this means, as the light of day diminishes, the light entering your eyes lessens. Your body starts producing a sleep-inducing hormone called melatonin, artificially stimulating your body to stay awake through, let's say, screen time like TVs, cell phones, or a computer, or even caffeine, causes extra stress to your body as it is naturally trying to shut down. New slide. Now, another form why bodies start losing their function is about stress. And our patients report that the year 2020 and 2021 have been the most stressful times in their lives. Our patients have had their normal everyday stress like school, work, family, plus the added political stress and COVID causing world changes thrust into their lives. Now, I'd like to do a stress-reducing breathing exercise. I'm going to explain it, and then we'll actually do a couple breaths together. Okay, this is how it works. I want you to slowly take a deep breath in through your nose for about a count of 5, inhaling deeply so your abdomen expands, and then we're going to exhale through the mouth through a count of 7. Okay, now do not purse your lips like when you blow out. Don't blow out. Just let the mouth open. Let the air leave easily. So we're going to take our first breath in. So take a slow breath in through the nose. Here we go. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. breath in. Now, I'm going to have you do is slowly exhale through the mouth through a count of 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so not forcing the breaths, just nice breath in, breath out. We're going to take a second breath. So we're going to breathe in through the nose. Here it goes. Breathe in. 1, 2, deeply breathing so abdominal area expands. 4, 5, deep breath in. Now we're going to slowly exhale through the mouth for a count of 7, 5, 6, 7. Now you should ideally feel the neck and shoulders relaxing as you learn to abdominal breathe, not breathe with the stress response up in your neck and shoulders. Last final breath, deep breath in through the nose for a count of 5, deep, so the abdomen expands. Okay, now slowly exhale through the mouth for a count of 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, not forcing the breath, nice, easy breathing with that. Now, you should ideally do this breathing technique daily. We have patients that do it hourly. You should take it home and just start practicing with it. You'll actually become more and more effective with it the more you do it. This breathing activity will lower your stress hormones, such as cortisol and histamine. It will increase your feel-good hormones like endorphins and enkephalins. They'll relax the body, get the blood vessels dilate. It'll be very calming to a body. New slide. So next one may not be quite as easy as the last one, but this one's eliminate sugar. Sugar comes in many known and unknown forms, okay? Let's start with the most commonly known forms of sugar that you know. Think of candies, cookies, pop, cake, things like that. You know these as added sugars. Now, some concentrated hidden sugars are common in liquid forms like fruit juice, ketchup, or the classic healthy energy drinks. The best way to find a known or hidden sugar is to look at the back label on the food item. The label will list how many grams of sugar per serving. How close can I get to 0 grams of sugar in my serving would be your goal. Okay, now, sugar can be hidden on the labels by using many different names. For example, any ingredient that ends with the 3 letters OSE, OS. For example, high fructose corn syrup, sucrose, dextrose, maltose, okay? These are all sugars. Other names include molasses, honey, barley malt, rice syrup, or any name that has sugar in it. For example, beet sugar or brown sugar. Here's a little known fact. Americans currently eat more sugar in 5 days than our ancestors ate in a whole year, 200 years ago. New slide. Now, another way that you can get your systems, you bring your body back up to health is eliminating the toxic load in your body. So what is a toxic load? Our world are full of man-made toxins that are very harmful to your body. These toxins are called POPs, P-O-P, POPs, persistent organic pollutants. These POPs get into our body through what we eat, what we breathe, and drink. For example, our food stock has preservatives, flavor enhancers, color enhancers, and neuroexcitatory chemicals stuck in them. Our foods contain pesticides, herbicides, and genetically modified organisms. All these POPs are toxic to our bodies, and they can be cancer and autoimmune-inducing chemicals. Now, when POPs get in your body, they may take a year or even a decade to get out of your body once they get in. So you don't want them in. Now, our air contains many chemicals, and you think, well, what do you mean by that? Think of the new car smell. That's the plastics in a brand new car gassing off. Now, think of new paint, new carpet, or even like engine exhaust. These chemicals that are gassing off can induce high levels of stress once they enter your body through your lungs. Our recommendation is to use filtered water, organic foods, and clean air practices. These will help reduce the toxic load in your body. New slide, please. Now, addressing missing nutrients is becoming more and more dominant, what we'll see with many patients. And basically, our soil is progressively becoming more nutrient depleted through the current farming practices in place. Now, when the soil becomes nutrient depleted, our foods become nutrient depleted. When our food becomes nutrient depleted, finally, that results in our bodies being nutrient depleted. Now, a malnourished body, missing nutrients will lead to diminished tissue, organ, and eventually body system dysfunction. Think of your hormonal system, respiratory system, your neurologic system, or your cardiovascular system undernourished and underperforming. Can this underperformance lead to an inability to heal from sickness? Absolutely. Next slide. I'd like to introduce you to nutrition response testing. Basically, should my body get rid of the toxins it doesn't want or need? Is my terrain under stress from these toxins? What exact nutrients are missing? Can each of my systems under stress be missing its own special nutrient? Nutrition response testing will answer all these questions and more. Testing would be done specifically to your body's needs. No guessing. What we mean by that is if a patient comes in and has large digestive component, we will specifically test that component. If it's a cardiovascular, we'll specifically test that system. Now, finding the specific toxin or missing nutrient that is causing your system or organs to work less than optimal will restore your terrain, basically restore your body's health. Restoring your terrain will restore your health. Next slide. Now, I'd like you to listen to some of our patient stories. So I love sharing the story about Kathy. Kathy came into our clinic and her history, it was interesting. Kathy was actually asked to come into the clinic by her husband, which was very interesting because usually the women encourage their husbands to come in. This was the other way around. What Kathy experienced was she had been terribly fatigued, achy, sore, brain fog for 10 years. She reported to us that she would come home from her work and pretty much hit the couch and just lay there. She had children at home. She had a household that she was part of. And this went on for 10 years, literally laying on the couch. And so Kathy started finding out her malnutrition, what was missing, the nutrients that her body needed, the toxicity that had overtaken her body and just really depleted her organ function and health of her body. And once she understood these and started applying the correct therapies that we were directing her on, Kathy then took control of her health again. So more recently, Kathy came in and explained to us, she just started sharing with us very excitedly that during her 10 years, if she ever got one thing done per day, she was very excited with that. She came in one morning recently and stated that, I just got 5 things done this morning. So she's restoring her health to the point that her and her husband have bought a second home. She's greatly involved with refurbishing the new home and very excited about all of it. So it's great to see that her health came back. Now she's living a full life again. So that was great, getting off the couch. That's awesome. New slide. So I have something special for you. I have a gift, okay? And it's time to restore your terrain. This is the first step to improve your chronic long-haul health loss. The gift is a chance to come into our clinic for a highly sensitive, very specific exam of your terrain, or basically of your body. Your condition could get worse, a lot worse. The longer a body stays under stress, the harder it is to bring it back to health. Now, if we can help you, we'll let you know. If we can help you, you can feel fabulous, okay? And you can feel great. You can feel like your old self, or better yet, a younger self, even better than you could ever imagine. Now, if we can't help you, we won't waste your time. We'll refer you to a clinic or a doctor that can help you, but we don't know that until we examine you. Finally, we've reduced the cost of your exam. We will take 50% off the cost of your exam when you call in and make an appointment. This cost of the exam currently would be pretty much the cost of most co-pays for most people when they come to the clinic. Now, new slide. To take advantage of this exam, we schedule up to 2 hours of our clinic time for every new patient that's scheduled. We want you to do this as soon as possible. These times are precious to us. They fill in rapidly. Take advantage of this exam. Want to come in right away. Right now, we have on the screen our address, our email, and our cell phone, or not cell phone, our phone number. So you would need to contact us as soon as possible to make your exam. I wish you all the best. Thank you for your time listening today. I'm Dr. Furlong, waiting to help you restore your health.